Hey, it's me, Hrishikesh Kannan, popularly known as Hrishi K. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon now to get the latest videos and get taken into a world of entertainment, culture, sport, business, and current affairs.
He's too gifted, I would say. He's just very gifted. Yeah. And on top of that, I think he's very humble. So it just
and he's
works.
quite cute. When you shift the conversation to shoes, he becomes like a teen Khalsa college boy.
He is.
Suddenly he gets there's a twinkle in his eye when he talks about shoes and
he's very and he's very honest, and somewhere or the other, he and I come from very similar backgrounds, like very middle class backgrounds who always looked at Adidas shoes also with glitter in the eyes that I want to wear it. I want to wear jeans from a certain brand. So, and it's great. His journey has been phenomenal. He's a superstar of another kind. His fan following is crazy. He loves them. His music is on the point right now. So contemporary, so cool. He's like kind of doing like these great combinations with international artists. They love him. He has a wicked sense of humor, very vulnerable. So he's a cool boy, I would say.
Yeah, he is. And he can become a black rapper.
A
hip hop guy. Then he'll be Zameen se juda hua, which is what he means.
And he enjoys what he does, which is very important.
Himanshu, Ali, wonderful to see you guys. Many congratulations on the upcoming release of Jogi. Ali, I want to start with the writing process. I mean, the fact that Sukhmani is a Sadarni, she's a Sikhni, but also these incidents happened in 1984. Obviously, when you're doing a fictional take on it, you've got to get some perspective of what happened in reality with your co-writer when you're going about that. To talk to me about the story idea, how much you had to get reality into it, and what were your sources?
So Rishi, what we did was an extensive research. Obviously, like how you said, Sukhmani is a Sadarni, and she. So lot of research came from first-hand conversations of the people who were around that time and who saw things around them, or who went through things. And there's enough material that has been written around that event. So what we did was that because it's based in reality, we kind of created a base of realism and the event, and then out of all the stories we heard or we read about, we then started putting that into the fictional account of what this one-man journey in those 3 days in Delhi is all about. So I would say that it is fictional, but that fiction is mostly coming out of real events and the real stories that are of people who lived in those 3 days in Delhi. The idea was to kind of create a film which would look at a chaotic tragedy, but yet, when you come out of the film, you see a ray of love and hope. And I think that is our idea to even take. That is the idea that we want to even take to an audience. That in the middle of a chaos, there's a beautiful story about how people react. How people stand up, and how everyone who can save a life is a hero. You don't need to be a superhero.
Yeah, Himanshu, the production design for this is not easy. You see, anybody who goes into Trilokpuri and goes into those gullies, as is mostly the case with any kind of violence and riots, the gullies are very small, they're tight, some of them don't even have exit routes. Unfortunately, it was planned that way, city. So that makes it very difficult for production design and VFX to work their thing. So talk to me about that, because that is like doing an entirely different film. I mean, one is the story and the screenplay, but to recreate Trilokpuri as it was in 1984.
Well, so here's the advantage of filmmakers, filmmaking, that you want to sort of project as real as something that happened at that point in time.
Sure.
So the best way to do it is to take the liberty of going, and that's what we did, because what happens is you don't even want to disturb the normal. There are so many things when you shoot in India, because of there's traffic, there are people, you have to be sensitive about a lot of things. So we, in all those portions, where you see, if you happen to see the trailer, you'll see that all the portions where we've shot, where the incident took place, where the riots happened, we've actually created a whole set in Film City that sort of gave us the liberty to be able to work for longer hours, churn out the best, and concentrate on those moments when you are trying to establish those sensitive moments. You're not disturbed, and you do this. So primarily we did everything on set. So once the layout and the sets were locked, it was pretty easy. So you spend more time on the prep, and this is where the action is going to be, this is how we are going to plan the sensitive portions. It makes life simpler, and we're all trained to do that. So
yeah, no, very well done on that. Much kudos to your production design and setting to make it so realistic. Ali, I really want to compliment you, because at no point in the film is any finger pointed at any community. In fact, you've almost shot it very documentary-like in proportions. It's almost as though you're more interested in the reaction and the events that play out, as opposed to dramatic posturing of one community against another and things like that. And the overriding message, like you said, is a message of love.
People stand up, and
it's also something very different from what you have done in the past. I mean, you've done all these commercial films. I don't want to look into your OTT career, that's a different thing. But if I look at your films, you mount them on an entertainment kind of larger kind of canvas. You haven't left too much room for that in this. Was it very conscious, saying I want to shoot this almost like a documentary kind of pace of events that are happening?
yes, because I just feel that when you pick up a film and when you pick up a text which is so sensitive, you have to be very sensitive as a storyteller, that you don't cross the line. The idea that I had in mind was that we want the story to reach a lot of people. Okay. So when it started from a 2-pager story that we wrote, and I narrated it to Diljit, I said, I cannot make this film apart from you, because you right now is the poster boy for a community. They love you, and I think you will be the right person. And all three of us decided that it has to come onto a platform which can take it to maximum countries and maximum people, irrespective of their language, irrespective of their religious identities. So when we pitched it to Netflix, it became within like 1 week they reacted, and it became a Netflix original. So when it became a Netflix original, I said that I'm not only catering to one kind of audience, I'm catering to an audience which watches lots of different kind of cinema. So the aesthetics of this film needs to have a fine balance, which is mainstream, but at the same time is very real, credible. So yes, it's not that popcorn commercial cinema that I make for the big screen, but at the same time it still is not so niche and arty that you feel that it's slow, or it has a pace, and that pace came from the story, because it's a story of 3 days. That time is passing, you're sitting on a ticking time bomb. So that was the idea to keep it very real, honest, sensitive, but at the same time keep the audience hooked, so that they don't lose the narrative.
I want to talk about Diljit Dosanjh now. I mean, he's an international pop sensation. I mean, to call him just a Punjabi star and pop star is doing disservice to him. He's selling out stadiums in Canada.
That's
He's
right.
selling out
All over the
Arena
world.
in London, all over the world. And I remember having a conversation with him in his last release, and I said, "Boss, what are you?" So he said, "I'm a singer, first and foremost, a singer who also acts."
Yeah.
You know, but then you look at these performances and you say, "What is he talking about?" You know. I thought also it was a great gesture for him to make time in the middle of a packed tour, going into a concert, to come on to Netflix's Films Day Out and actually, send out a important message there. So just your interactions, Himanshu, as a producer, as a colleague with Diljit Dosanjh, as far as this movie is concerned.
I'll answer that. Involuntarily answer that question when you said Diljit. He said he's a singer. I think he's an artist, most importantly, and a great human. So I feel the stage also, the age and stage that where he is, and with our interactions, we've realized that I think he's out there to say anything which he feels like saying at that particular moment, and which is relatable and true to him, and him being like the quintessential or epitome of see, this story is sort of connected with him in a way that he said, I am. And when Ali mentioned this, that it was just a 2-pager and they had never worked. Ali just picked up the phone, he heard him out, and he was like, I'm doing this, and we have to say this in as big a way possible to a platform which reaches everywhere. This has to be told in this way. So I just feel instantaneously, the way he reacts as an artist. He's an all-rounder. He's an all-rounder, not just a singer or an actor or a performer.
He's too gifted, I would say. He's just very gifted.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I think he's very humble. So it just
And he's
works.
quite cute. When you shift the conversation to shoes, he becomes like a teen Khalsa college boy.
He is.
Suddenly he gets there's a twinkle in his eye when he talks about shoes and
And
ye
he's
jutte.
very and he's very honest, and somewhere or the other, he and I come from very similar backgrounds, like very middle class backgrounds, who always looked at Adidas shoes also with glitter in the eyes, that I want to wear it. I want to wear jeans from a certain brand. So, and it's great. His journey has been phenomenal. He's a superstar of another kind. His fan following is crazy. He loves them. His music is on the point right now. So contemporary, so cool. He's like kind of doing like these great combinations with international artists. They love him. He has a wicked sense of humor, very vulnerable. So yeah. So he's a cool boy, I would say.
Yeah, he is. And he can become a black rapper.
Yeah.
Like a hip hop guy.
Yeah.
Then he'll be Zameen Se Juda Hua, which is what you need.
And he enjoys what he does, which is very important. No one is forcing him to do anything, and if he does not want to do it, he'll put his hand up. But if he's in it, he's enjoying everything. Which is very important for any artist to enjoy what they do. And yeah, so it's been a great. We are collaborating on a couple of other things. But yes, he's been very, very good to us.
Lovely. I've never asked you this question before, and I want to this time around, because in a project like this, in the pacing of it and the storytelling, the BGM is very important for something like this. For your other films, maybe the soundtrack was more important than the BGM. Here, it's more the BGM than the score than the songs.
Yeah.
How important were silences in this? How did you work on your background music, your score, to make it a language within Jogi? Talk to me about that.
So the background is done by Julius, who again does all the background from all my films. He's again studied in Delhi University, Kirodimal College boy. And somewhere or the other, the good thing with Julius is that again comes from a similar background, who knows what is happening around you. So it's very important for, I think, every artist to be sensitive enough to understand the culture around you and the history around you. So when Julius saw the film, and there's another person, Jolly, on his team who also is a Sikh, They both called me and they said that Ali, it's a emotional ride, this film, and we have to create a new language of BGM scoring for it, because this is not the film, which can have like a relentless background score without the pauses, lulls, Therao, all those things. And Julius and Jolly and his entire team went on to create something which was more tugging you inside rather than just making the story flow on screen. And that is why you use a lot of unplugged guitars in the film. So it's just someone plucking the guitar, very light pads in lot of scenes, because there are scenes which are long sequences with very few things happening on screen, but the background keeps it just going in a very subtle way. So I think I'm fortunate enough to work with people who are just not musicians, or who are just not cameramen or like production designers, but also people who are very well aware of the situation that we are in or we have been in. Like I always say that for an artist, it's very important to be aware of what's happening around you, in every field, whether technically, non-technically, and somewhere or the other, all those things help you to just make your craft better. So yes.
It's very well said. Yeah. Himanshu, as a film production company, I mean, what is it that works in this combination, Ali and you making content together?
Because we're on Jogi, I'll try to reference it through this. It being a titular film, it all starts on the text. When Ali is resonating with an idea, and the best part. He's very democratic in his discussions with his team when he's writing, and he's trying to sort of understand. Like we keep talking about what is trending, what is happening, I am resonating with what is happening. So when you're as a company, when somebody is sort of helming that portion of creating and writing content, and this is what I feel that I should be sort of steering, and this is what I think I be able to do justice. When it starts from there, it automatically starts, you start checking all the boxes, and that's where it starts. Because if we try to do something that we are not connecting to or relating to, I think we not be honest. So like there is a context, there is a setting of this whole film, but it being titular is basically a journey of, and if you see the trailer, it also says 3 days. It's talking about human highest. You have to merge that engaging element of filmmaking. When you have an experience like, when you've done those films, it only happens that way. So it's not that कि एक topic ले लिया और उस पे बना दिया. It has to be merged in that way. And I think consciously as a company, we're trying to, even if you're working on anything that is based out of something or whatever, it has to have your own voice and your own engaging abilities to sort of connect with your audience whom you want to communicate it to.
Let's make no bones of the fact that even though it's a titular film, Kumud Mishra's role is as important as Jogi's role.
Yeah.
Was there ever any choice in your mind, or was it just Kumud Mishra for that part? Sometimes actors, even when you're writing it, you just think of somebody, so, or were there options? You don't have to tell me the names and things like that. I'm just curious.
No, the thing is with Kumud sir is that, from the time of Sultan, he's been in every film that I've done, so somewhere or the other, I always feel that a director, when works with a good actor, subconsciously falls in love with that actor, and that is my relationship with Kumud sir. So every film I pick up a phone and says, मैंने कुछ लिखा है, आप प्लीज सुन लो, अगर अच्छा लगेगा तो कर लेना. And he says, अरे मुझे तो सेट पे वैसे ही मजा आने वाला है, तुम बस मैं आ जाऊंगा, तुम मुझे बता दो. So we become very comfortable with each other, and I just feel anyway he's a brilliant actor. So so whatever he does, he's so good in that. And I just feel it's great time to be an actor, because there's so much content is happening and people are writing good roles, and we have very bright lot.
Yeah, and fantastic. I mean, I saw him in Imtiaz's one where he was
Yeah.
playing a sex doctor.
Yeah.
And here I see him doing what he's doing. I mean, he's
Yeah.
just, I don't want to give any spoilers away, but
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
just fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
So these are great times. So we've had an intense discussion on Jogi. The last one has got to be some masti. Tell me about a trip that you went to, solo or with family, that you really had a great time in the recent past.
You know, it's always good to, you know, sort of take time out, and
Must, yeah.
it is very important to come back motivated that, you know,
To do the next project.
अभी
Yeah,
बहुत अभी बहुत खर्चा हो गया वापस आओ. And you know, it's always important to sort of go away from wherever you are. I think, and I'm glad that you can't ask this question to Ali, because Ali doesn't stay here anyway. You have to get out of this.
Yeah, but you still haven't answered. Where did you go? Did you go to Europe? Did you go to America?
So we actually went to, you know, we were actually reconnoitering for our film that we are working on.
Ah,
And-
Bade Miyan Chote Miyan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, each time when you go out for something which is professional, you can always add. And then I sort of carried on to Europe, doing my own thing.
Is it Western Europe or Eastern Europe?
No, we went to Switzerland, and as Western as it gets.
Very nice. So just people watching, cafes, taking walks.
Having
in the
fun. No, I
mountains.
went with my girls. I went with my wife and daughter. That's personal time.
lovely.
After the recce,
He
you know,
likes eating, so his holidays are
Yeah.
about eating.
it all revolves around
Food.
food. Yeah.
Bagels in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Lovely. What about you? I saw some wonderful pictures of you with one of your favorite species, which is horses. I follow you on social.
Yes.
So any interesting trip? Yeah.
Nothing. So I've moved my base back to where I came from. So mostly I stay in Dehradun. And yes, all the little money that I've made, I'm spending making animal farm, because my wife is very, very, you know, she loves animals. So we've just got 2 horses right now. We've created a small farm. And yeah, this is life.
I want to be a fly on the wall when Huda and Ali meet.
Yeah,
Ask you about horses.
Yes. So
you have some great conversations.
Yes. So he's the first person who will just send me a message, or I will send him a message. Where is this? Kahan hai ye?
Huda once famously told me in an interview, I treat horses better than humans.
Yeah. I think anyone who loves horses will do that.
Correct, lovely. 16th of September, directed by Abbas, Zafar, produced by Himanshu and him. Jogi, it's on Netflix. Please give it a lot of love. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.